And last but never least, number 3 in the Aquarian series. When I first saw you, I had gone on a road trip to a friend of a friend's house, and I was supposed to be meeting new people, kind of mingling. They had Dressed to Kill playing in the background. I was so mesmerized by that performance and so enraptured and so entertained that I kind of ignored everybody I was supposed to be hanging out with and just kind of locked in on you. I didn't realize at the time, I was already familiar with your work, however. Comedy Central connoisseur back in the day. Couldn't get enough of it. In the formative years, it was stand-up and BBC series, all of the late night shows, Ab Fab, Mystery Science Theater, and of course, Whose Line Is It Anyway, the BBC one. I would just tilt my TV towards the wall so that you couldn't see the glow of it and just watch it anyway. That day, at a friend of a friend's house, Dressed to Kill, fell in love with you in lady mode. We can't really talk about any type of trans performer without talking about the climate in which they first were known, because that defines a lot about them as a performer, I think. At that time, when you came out as a performer in a trans way, no one had ever seen anybody like that. That wasn't a punchline themselves, that wasn't being made fun of, that wasn't being made to feel like they were so other that all they could do is be a joke. And then here you come, being an executive transvestite. I realize that that term has changed and that that is no longer acceptable. Some people feel because of the way that it was used back in the day. However, at that time, that was your way of saying, I realize what you see and this is what I really am. And I can't thank you enough. I love drag. I love drag culture. Being a female is pretty cool. I appreciate that sort of association. I'm definitely masculine and feminine. I have a closet full of men's clothing, including men's shoes. Those are some of my favorite because I have very large, wide feet. So I feel more comfortable in men's clothing because of my physicality, but also because my energy is very masculine. So I like the interplay of both. So seeing you at that age that I was in my late teens, early 20s, having you as a reference for all of those things, you're not a gay person. So it was like there was this other area, this other place on the spectrum that you took up that space, and it opened my eyes, and I think lots of people, to the essence of the spectrum itself, to the idea that if you are not way far on this side, way far on this side, you're still okay. And that's 100% the truth, but we had never seen anyone call it out like that before. I absolutely adore stand-up comedy. I think it's one of the last bastions of unimpeded observation and social commentary. You are able to not only do it in one language, in your native language, you're able to do it in German, I believe, French. You're working on a couple others from interviews that I'd heard. So incredibly impressive. At the level of success in your career, you're still pushing boundaries, seeking things that are unifying, such an Aquarius thing, places that people haven't ever been before, and you're not afraid to go there, give it a shot, to report back. I think that's amazing. So from Dressed to Kill, I followed your career. Your acting career, which I realized is kind of more where you were at anyway. Stand-up just ended up being an avenue from which you could approach acting, which I think you are acting when you're doing stand-up. You're miming things and you're bridging gaps that maybe the language doesn't allow for, which I think is really cool. I mean, not specific to you, but I think you use it to your fullest advantage. I applaud you for that. Some of my favorites: The Cat's Meow, Rock Dog. We love Rock Dog. Igor, Velvet Goldmine, The Riches. I loved The Riches. And the list goes on. So all of the performances that you have churned out are, even if it's like a few lines, your impact as that character is always very memorable. I know that your personal life is just that, and I would never pry into that or assume I know anything about that. But I will say that as your fan, as someone who is on the queer spectrum myself, I know it must be hard for you to not be over here on the gay side or over here on the straight side. You're somewhere in between. You must catch shit from every side. Yes, you love a good frock, but you're not into cock. I didn't mean to rhyme that. That was an impromptu rhyme, but it fits. But I just wanted to let you know that contrary to any experience that you may have had or any conversation or any insult hurled at you, the fact that you're where you are on the spectrum is alluring to me. All of the people that understand gender fluidity because they either are themselves or they're okay with it because why is it personally offensive to them, kind of a thing. We all really, really appreciate appreciate that you are who you are. And because of that, you were able to bridge gaps and bring a lot of visibility to the trans community before it made the strides that it did. I believe that you had a huge hand in that. Yes, you're not certain flavors of trans. You are a flavor that was a good bridge so that people could have an open mind about the other places on the spectrum. Thank you for that. You're a pioneer. Your stand-up is so good-natured and so kind. I heard you say that you had reached a place in your life where you weren't angry anymore. There had been some rough stuff in your past, but that you weren't thrown by that anymore. And you can see that. You can see that the way that you are self-effacing, the way that you're not out there railing against something unless it's something that needs railing against, if that makes sense. And that, I think, is the most potent kind of activism, because you are inviting people in. You're not yelling at them for not coming in. Again, thank you for that. I'm not a huge history fan myself, I'm going to be honest, because I wasn't there personally. I don't really know what happened, and therefore things, facts and actualities of what happened can be completely distorted. Something that happened a couple centuries ago, I don't know if that really is what happened. But I will say that I do prefer your version of most of the historical events that you retell. I love your lady mode aesthetic. Always that blend of a structured suit jacket, some awesome shoes. Above all, you always have really awesome nail game. So I threw some on in honor of you today. That has special significance for me. When I was younger, on trips to the store, I would pick Lee press-on nails. Older generations know that was the only way to get your nails done quickly and easily back in the 80s and 90s was Lee press-on nails. And then I was just like instantly gesture to things and speak with my hands and pretend all kinds of things. It really helped me feel like a feminine grown woman. It helped connect me to my older self, the one that was working past maybe some emotional struggles. And so I completely understand wanting to have that connection to your femininity. Cheers. Thank you for championing for yourself, and for realizing that the only way to really influence someone, the only way to really impact someone is to lead by example. Speak from your truthiest truth of your heart. You do that more often than not, I feel like. Politically, I know that you're getting into politics. Last I'd heard it was that you were running in 2020. But I don't know if that happened or not. You are of the generation politically that we need to keep pushing within the current system, reform, and make things happen, make some change. I am of the generation after that that's like, yeah, we just need a whole new system, build with the ground up with the actual people that are enacting change. I think both are important, and we couldn't be where we are as a generation if it weren't for your generation doing what it did. So thank you for that. Being that they're kind of two different ideals, I think that you are more potent on the stage doing your stand-up, speaking kind of little nuggets of truth within laughter, because I don't think that any political party really deserves you. That sounds horrible. Maybe I'm just being a biased fan. I don't know. I really hope that you reach the goals that you have set for yourself by way of helping other people. I love that you believe in a fair shake for everybody on earth. Socioeconomic background is, gender spectrum, what's your, sexuality spectrum, no matter color, race, any of that. I love that you want all of us to have even playing field and to move forward unflinchingly as a group, as a united front, because I 100% agree with that. Either you'll change the game so that you can, or you will work within the current system to reach your goals. So putting your money where your mouth is, just like your marathons that you ran. I mean, that is the thought of that many marathons in that amount of time, and the way that you did it at your own pace, little by little, super inspiring. Because I think you can get anything done that way, at your own pace, little by little. Keep your eyes on what you really are trying to accomplish. Thank you for setting that example. Thank you for years of enjoyment. Thank you for all of the unbelievably quotable stand-up. I watched Dressed to Kill again. It is just as funny, if not more funny now than it was when I watched it initially. It's a timeless stand-up definition of what you can do with your own voice and what you can do with an interesting perspective. You were definitely not like all the other 90s comedians, thank God, rocking their big shoulder pad suit jacket, and they just were talking about nothing. And you were talking about things that were interesting and relatable and funny and fun. Back in the days of mix CDs, found some of your stand-up and I put it in between songs. Sometimes I would just skip the song and just listen to your little clips of stand-up. To this day, whenever I hear your voice, it's comforting and it's soothing. It kind of bolsters me and gives me a little bit more of a fighting spirit. So thank you for that. Plus, not to mention, whenever someone says tea or cake, immediately in my mind it's or death. Tea, cake, or death. Tea, cake, or death. Little red cookbook. But progress you've made, the growing that you've done, seeing that evolution, and I get really excited. And just for the record, you are in ways a magical unicorn that a lot of women say that they want or complain that they don't have, which is someone who loves the female aesthetic, can share clothes with you, also wanna bang you out. Even though I'm sure it's a struggle, I'm just very thankful that I know that unicorns do exist. I will keep my eyes wide open for your successes, your advances in your career, and all things Eddie. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all the inspiration and for all of the ways that you helped change my life and so many others. And if I'm ever in the UK, I would love to get together, do a little shoe shopping, go get our nails done, have fun, interesting, introspective conversations. I would love that.